Bionicle has done a lot of things right in its 11-year run. It saved LEGO from financial disaster, crafted a rich mythology with tons of interesting characters, and even inspired some chumps to make a YouTube channel called TTV. That being said, not everything always worked out as best as it could have. I'm Meso, and welcome to the top 10 Bionicle Disappointments. Kicking off the list at number 10, we've got Boda Magna and its robotic dinosaurs. Despite being cancelled in 2010, there was more story planned for Bionicle Generation 1. Back in late 2009, Greg Farshtey released the original screen treatment for Bionicle's planned 2010 movie, which contained a number of interesting plot elements. At the end of the movie, Madanui, Akar, and Kina were to crash land on Boda Magna, where it was revealed that biomechanical dinosaurs roamed the landscape. This excited a lot of people who were disappointed with the somewhat generic desert wasteland setting of 2009, and many were saddened that we never got to see this particular location explored all that much. Plus, biomechanical dinosaurs, that's just straight up cool. Coming in at number 9, we have the unfortunate cancellation of graphic novel 10. Talk about a missed opportunity. The Bionicle graphic novels, while beginning as simple compilations of the comics, eventually broadened their horizons and began to include exclusive stories. Graphic Novel 6 included an exclusive Hydraxon comic, and Graphic Novel 8 contained 3 exclusive stories that helped flesh out the world of 2009 by a great deal. The 10th graphic novel, Power of the Great Beings, was planned to be more of the same. Had this book been released, it would have given much greater detail about Maranui's journey to the Valley of the Maze, an aspect of Bionicle's later storyline that ended up feeling rather rushed. Unfortunately, due to the poor sales of the prior 2 graphic novels, work on it was stopped a third of the way through. It's a shame because original Bionicle stories through graphic novels would have been a great way to continue G1 after its untimely end. Taking the number 8 spot, we have basically the entire story premise of the year of 2005. If it sounds like a pretty harsh condemnation, it's probably because it is. The storyline of 2005 is frowned upon by the great majority of Bionicle fans, and even Greg Farshtey himself, due to the contrived betrayal of Toa Horika Vakama, who decided to join forces with Sidorak and Rudaka against his Toa friends. Mr. Farshtey had expressed his belief that a better candidate for betrayal would have been Matau, as his vanity and desire for glory being denied after his transformation into a monster would have made for a more compelling motivation than Vakama's as far as betrayal is concerned. Quite honestly, I have to agree with that. For number 7, we've got a bit of a lesser-known situation. Greg Weisman's involvement with Bionicle. Some of you may not know who Greg Weisman is. He is a writer and producer who has been involved with many beloved cartoons over the years, including Spectacular Spider-Man, Young Justice, and Gargoyles. A lesser-known fact is that he also helped write Bionicle Mask of Light, alongside Bob Thompson, Henry Gilroy, and Alastair Swinnerton. Unfortunately, his time with LEGO reached an abrupt end when he was apparently fired by a LEGO executive for perceived disrespectfulness. Had Greg Weisman continued being a part of the Bionicle team, his influence and experience with cartoons could have greatly enriched Bionicle's visual media for many years and potentially opened the doors to a very exciting future. Up next is an issue I have a personal attachment with, considering my recent activities on the channel. The end of TEMPLAR Studios' partnership with LEGO takes the 6th spot on this countdown. TEMPLAR Studios has achieved widespread critical acclaim amongst the Bionicle fandom for their work on Madanui Online Game 1 and 2, as well as the Borak Call, and Vaki animations. Naturally then, you can imagine the fanbase's sadness when their partnership with LEGO ended and they stopped creating content for Bionicle. Imagine an alternate reality where there had been an official Metru Nui Online game, or if Vinag had been produced by Templar. Better yet, imagine if Bionicle 2015 had opened up with a fully fledged Okoto Online game. What a world it would be. Talk about a missed opportunity. The number 5 spot goes to the incomplete Bionicle G1 story serials. When Bionicle G1 was cancelled, it was stated that while no new sets would be produced for the theme, Bionicle's storyline would be continued with online story serials written by Greg Farshtey. This could have potentially opened up a whole new era for Bionicle, as stories could be told without having to be shackled to the newest set releases, allowing for a much broader range of characters to be featured in the story at one given time. A series of new story serials were created, revolving around the world after the reformation of Spherus Magna, such as the Yesterday quest and the Powers That Be. New mysteries were introduced, such as a mysterious great being in disguise, the Red Star's secret nature, and a myriad of other things. Unfortunately, due to Greg's busy schedule and his need to work on more pressing projects that he was actually contracted to write, such as Ninjago, the Bionicle story serials were left unfinished until BionicleStory.com was completely shut down. This caused the state of the Bionicle world to be left in disarray, as a ton of characters were either left in danger, fused together, or trapped somewhere. A lot of the unanswered questions and mysteries were forced to be answered by Greg on message boards years later in an effort to provide some clarity to the end of G1. It's a real shame it had to go out that way. Wasted potential at its finest. Heading onwards to number 4, we have the cancellation of the Legend of Mata Nui video game. Originally planned for release in 2001, The Legend of Mata Nui was a third-person action-adventure game that was going to tell the story of 2001 from the Toa's perspective, ending in their conflict with Makuta. Unfortunately, the game was cancelled before release. However, it still exists in the form of development CDs that are owned by a limited number of people in the world. The quest for information and a possible playable version of this game culminated in the release of gameplay and cutscenes from the game several years ago. However, nothing more of substance has been unearthed since then. It's unlikely that many more details regarding this game will ever see the light of day, although the community is still actively searching for new leads and possible ways to get a hold of the development CDs to this very day. Had this game been released, it would have been an excellent way to kickstart the launch of Bionicle. Unfortunately, some things just aren't meant to be. Moving into the top 3, we have the Bionicle Stars. Without a doubt, many people would likely put this particular lineup of Bionicle sets at the top of their personal lists. The ending of Bionicle should have been grand in scale, featuring amazing reimaginings of past characters, a gripping storyline, and a resolution to all the theme's many loose ends. Whether the storyline did what it was supposed to is debatable, but the Bionicle Stars could have and should have been a lot better. Instead of a final line of sets that could have been some of the best things that Bionicle ever put out, we were treated to a rather peculiar assortment of 6 characters constructed using one of the most hated build systems of Bionicle's entire history, the Avmatoran build. It must be stated that the stars were not even planned to exist. They were the result of a campaign to give Bionicle some sort of send-off by people high up involved with the theme. So because of that, I am grateful that they exist. That being said, they left many people feeling insulted and upset that something better wasn't given to us instead to close out our beloved line. The number 2 spot belongs to the Bionicle movies, namely, the lack of a theatrical movie for Bionicle. Imagine a world where LEGO's first theatrical release wasn't the LEGO movie, but rather a Bionicle film. A world where Bionicle was the poster theme for LEGO storytelling, and became an incredibly huge franchise with numerous sequels and a vast array of secondary media. This never actually happened, of course, but what's frustrating is that it came very close numerous times. A lesser-known fact is that there was initially supposed to be a movie for the theme in 2001, although it was scrapped before these plans materialized into anything concrete. Nobody knows whether that particular film was planned to be theatrical or not, though. But based upon an early concept image shared by Christian Faber in 2013, however, we learned that at one point in development, Legends of Metru Nui, the second Bionicle film, was planned for a theatrical release. This would have caused Bionicle's popularity to explode in an incredibly big way. Unfortunately, those plans fell through, and Legends of Metru Nui was released the same way as its predecessor, Mask of Light. However, it was also stated in a Miramax press release back in 2003 that alongside Mask of Light and Legends of Metru Nui, a third Bionicle film was in development for a theatrical release in 2005. We now know that this project became Web of Shadows, and obviously, it didn't get its theatrical release either. Part of me wouldn't be surprised if all this developmental uncertainty was part of what caused Miramax and LEGO to conclude their partnership, but I don't know anything about that for certain. All that I do know is that as far as missed opportunities are concerned, it's going to be really hard to top this. Or is it? This brings us to number 1, the grand conclusion. Without further ado, the greatest missed opportunity in Bionicle is the lack of a Bionicle 2015 television series. You see, while a theatrical release for Generation 1 Bionicle would have done wonders for the brand and would have most certainly catapulted the theme into widespread popularity, those movies still happened. Whether they were shown in a theater or released straight to DVD, the point remains that the films were released and did do a great deal to advance the notoriety of the brand. Bionicle's 2015 reboot was not so fortunate. You see, over the last 5 years, LEGO has taken to granting TV shows to mostly all of its new original story-based IPs without any hesitation. First Hero Factory, then Ninjago, then Legends of Chima, heck, even the newest theme, Nexo Knights. All of them received or will receive television shows on Cartoon Network, and in Hero Factory's case, Nicktoons, that allow the story to be conveyed through a medium that kids can easily appreciate. Bionicle 2015 was not granted this same luxury, despite the theme being one of LEGO's greatest creations and single-handedly saving LEGO from financial ruin. Perhaps Hero Factory did major damage to LEGO's faith and construction as a brand, or LEGO just wasn't confident in Bionicle's ability to sustain a TV series. Whatever the reason may be, we didn't receive a full-fledged Bionicle show. Instead, we received minute-and-a-half-long online animations that, while great as an entry point into the theme for younger viewers, aren't really adequate for being the primary point of story delivery. There's simply not enough time to convey all the necessary details that Bionicle needs in order to craft its world. A TV show done in the same style as the Ninjago series would have done indescribable wonders for Bionicle's popularity. It's an incredible missed opportunity that LEGO did not opt to go that route. However, there is a silver lining. Just because it didn't happen in 2015 does not mean that it will not happen in the future, because just recently it has been announced that Bionicle will be receiving a 4-episode Netflix original series in 2016 titled Bionicle: The Journey to One. It must be stated that it's 4 episodes, unlike Ninjago, which typically features 8 to 10 episode seasons. However, depending on the length of the average episode, it may turn out to be just what Bionicle G2 needs to truly make its mark. And even if the episodes are only 22 minutes long, it still shows that LEGO does have faith in Bionicle, and that whatever reasons prevented them from launching the theme with this, they clearly feel confident enough in it now. Time will tell, I suppose. That being said, those were just our thoughts. What are yours? Feel free to post your own top 10 list in the comments section below, and continue the discussion on the TTV message boards at board.ttvpodcast.com. And as always, you can catch our content on Vessel a week early as a paid subscriber. Check us out at vessel.com/the TTV channel. I'm Meso, and thank you very much for watching.